Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. I am back with a new time trial guide for this week's new time trial event. So we've got 3 new events. The first one we are going to do today is for the Olympic qualifier. So yes, you can actually qualify for an Olympic event on Gran Turismo 7 by taking part in this event. Now I am not going to be pushing this lap to try and qualify. I've just done a lap that is reasonably okay, that should help you get the basics of this track, and you can try and qualify. You can try and set the fastest time you can and see if you're quick enough to qualify for the Olympics. Now the time that I've set is that I've currently set is quick enough for the gold, and hopefully it'll be quick enough to stay in the gold to the end. Maybe it might just get squeezed out, but I'll probably go on and set a little bit quicker off stream or something like that, just to guarantee myself getting the 4 million credits. So with regards to that, let's go and have a little look how you enter this and how much credits you can win also, because there is a lot of credits up for grabs and some very easy credits if you just want to jump on and do one lap, because you can earn quite a big amount by just simply turning your PlayStation on and going into this. So into sport mode is the way you find this, and you'll see there the sport mode time trial. It's there, the Olympic event, and it's the one on the left is for the Olympics. You can see I've got gold on all 3. I will be doing guides on the other 2 throughout this next few days. But today we are going to concentrate on the Olympic Esports official licensed event. So in here you can see you've got the times that you need for gold. It's 1.5% of the top time that you need. So that'll be dynamically changing as the week goes on, when people get faster and faster. At the moment it's a 16.2. It's probably going to end on about 15.8 to 15.9. Could go a bit quicker though. We don't really know how far that's going to go up at the moment. But look, for 500,000 credits, you only need to get within 20% at that time. So simply jump on, do a lap, get 500,000, boom, you're done. But you can see there, if you want to download people's time trial ghosts, you can do that from the leaderboard when you're in the session. My time isn't in the top 10, obviously, because this is very competitive. But let's get onto this guide and try and teach you or show you how you can get the most out of this lap. So starting your lap, try and get a good clean exit off that final hairpin and working your way down straight. Now revving this car out, changing gear into 6th gear, and now we're going to rev out in 5th gear. You can see I've got my brake bias to +3. You might want to try something different. This is what I've just done for this guide. You might want to try something a little bit different. We're going to be using, for our first braking reference, the 100 board and the start of the curb. I actually use the start of the curb, but you can also use the 100 board as a bit of a different reference if you're coming from further back and you want to see a bit further on in the distance. So braking into this corner and trying to take quite a tight line, you can see we're going to actually get this car narrow into the apex. Trail braking into the apex and then let the car coast briefly, then back on the throttle pretty much before halfway point on the apex. So you can see our left hand tyre pretty much on the white line, onto the throttle. Now we're not going 100% throttle straight away, and then be careful on the exit. Your left hand tyre cannot go over the white line because we're running championship track limits. So the white line is the track limit, so left hand tyre cannot go over that white line. Now again through here you have to be a little bit careful as we turn into this. Just make sure your right hand tyre stays on the right hand side of the white line. Left hand tyre can use some of the curb, and then just as you come off the curb, little bit of braking input going in here. It's not going to be aggressive, it's just a tiny little bit of braking input up to 50%, and then back down again on the trail braking. And then your right hand tyre is going to use some of the curb on the right, just skimming the green, bit of Astro for a bit of rotation there, and then back on the throttle, and then back onto the brakes in between this, where you can see the sunlight there, in between the 2 shadow marks on the brakes just before then, and down to 3rd gear. Now you can see again about 50% braking going into this corner. Left hand tyre onto the curb, a bit of grey tarmac use. Make sure your right hand tyre does not go over that white line. It's essential. You will get a penalty or an invalid lap. Sorry, you'll get your lap invalidated. And then as soon as we're off the curb again, onto the brakes, let the car rotate down to 2nd gear, then back up to 3rd gear, pretty much midway point on the apex with the throttle going down, and just try and take as much speed out this exit as possible. You can be quite aggressive, but again, cautious on this white line. Your right hand tyre cannot go over that white line. Invalidated lap if it does. Now into the next braking zone, you can see we're going to use the shadow there as a reference for where we're going to brake just before that shadow. And you can see trail braking into this corner down to 2nd gear. You want to let this trail braking carry on because we're going to try and use it to rotate the car through the corner. Then early upshift to 3rd gear as we put the power down, trying to keep that right hand tyre almost just using the white line as a reference for the corner. Then onto the throttle. Now be as aggressive as you can, be careful the rear doesn't snap, and then again be cautious on the track limits. Right hand tyre cannot go over that white line, but you need to use as much of this track as possible to get the lap time out of it. And again, it's very tricky. Into the next reference, we're using the curb here. As soon as our right hand tyre is pretty much on that curb, little bit of braking input going in here, and then we're going to trail brake to get that car rotated back on the throttle as we're going through the corner. Could have been a bit more aggressive there if it would have got a bit more rotation. And then onto the braking zone, you can see the change of colour in the tarmac. That's what I use as a reference. It's where the bridge is. So as soon as we're up to that point there, onto the brakes. Now we're going to slow the car down and downshift through the gears into second gear. And again, you want to take kind of a wide line, a wide apex into this corner because you want to get this car rotated. So rotation happen and then get onto the third gear and the power pretty much at the same time and powering your way out this corner. This exit is so important to lap time. You can gain a tenth or two just by the exit of that corner. Again, be cautious with your left hand tyre. It doesn't go over the white line because if you go too far wide there, that is another invalidated lap. This is completely flat out. It's just about taking a shorter line as possible. So just try and keep your lines nice and smooth through this section. And then into the final heavy braking zone. We are going to use the 150 board as a reference. There's your reference. And we're going to brake ever so slightly past that 150. You can go a little bit past it, you see there. Onto the brakes just past the 150 board and keep the car as far right as possible for this corner because you want to go from a wide angle. So you can see I'm using the curb, a little bit of green Astra as well with the right hand tyre, and you're going to really rotate this as late as possible. The later you get this rotated and still hit the apex, the faster your exit speed. So again, you can see P1 there getting that left hand tyre, skimming the curb almost perfectly with the white line. That's what the aim is. We do that quite nice as well, and onto that throttle as early as possible. The better you get this corner, the more speed you're going to carry all the way to the finishing line. Good amount of time can be gained on that one single corner if you get it right. So accelerating out the corner, completely flat out now. Again, keep the car over to the left hand side for the shortest distance to the finishing line, and we are going to go over the line for a 1 minute 15.7. I think this lap is not an amazing lap. I think there's a good 2 to 3 tenths for me to take off that if I want, but a pretty solid run. Now let's have a watch from that lap again from the chase camera just so you can see the track limits in a better perspective. So again, you can see on the exit here, really important, with that left hand tyre, you don't go over the white line. You can see I'm very cautious there. Plenty of space to push a little bit more if I want to, probably another half a tenth with a bit more early on the throttle. Again through here, right hand tyre on the white line, again on the left hand tyre over the white line, but the right hand tyre stays within comfortably there. So watching this lap, you can see I've got a little bit of room to play with the track limits. You can see I'm not pushing the absolute limits at the moment here. We're getting close, but we're not, you know, there's a good couple of attempts just on track limits that I could be pushing a little bit more. Again on the exit here, could have been a little bit more aggressive. You can see the left hand tyre, plenty of space there. We could have been a bit more adventurous on the throttle to gain an extra half a tenth on this straight. But this is what I'm saying, as the week goes on, you're going to see the top times absolutely pushing the limits on the track limits. They're going to be right on the edge of the track, right on the edge of grip, and that is what is going to be the difference between, you know, a top 10 or not in this event. Now it's going to be very hard to qualify for this. I won't be trying to do it. This lap will do as a guide. I might go back on and improve it a little bit to get like a 15.5 just to guarantee myself the 4 million credits, because 4 million credits for getting gold on this, 2 million for silver, 500,000 for that easy bronze time that I think everyone can get. So make sure you jump on this, get yourself that bronze at least, and give yourself 500,000 credits. If you do enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will be back with the other 2 time trial guides over the next few days. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Bye.